Hi, Rev Sherri. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a real blessing to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a pleasure to meet you virtually.
Yes.
Yeah, although we do appear in the same film together, As A Man
Yes.
Thinketh,
Yes.
directed by our friend John Miller. And this is so exciting.
Very
Yeah,
exciting.
and the
Yes.
first screenings are this week, so that's extra exciting. Awesome.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I have seen the film, and you are great in it. I love your
Thank
energy and your wisdom. You really enhance the film so much. It's really wonderful. So it's great.
Thank
But
you.
what I wanted to ask you is, when did you find New Thought? How did you find New Thought in your life?
Sure. Sure. So I had an early exposure to some New Thought thinkers. I didn't know who they were, and I didn't know the term New Thought. But I had a mom who had studied Silva Mind Control, who had studied Tony Robbins and Les Brown, and introduced me to those thinkers. Stephen Covey introduced me to those thinkers when I was still in high school. And when I graduated college and moved to Los Angeles for film school, my first job was at the Walt Disney Company. And there was a young lady there, Sherri Thompson, who was also working. And it turns out that we had gone to the same undergraduate school in Philadelphia. And we met for lunch just as a networking lunch to get to know other alumni. And we became friends. And one day she invited me to church. And I was like, oh, yeah, I hadn't really settled on a church here in LA. So sure, I'll check it out. And I went, and it was my first time hearing Reverend Della preach. And I was like, this is a good message. And then they sang this song. Now, forgive me, I don't sing, but I love to sing. And it says, I can have as far as I can see. God said he would give it all to me.
Beautiful.
I can have as far as I can see. God said, anyway, it's based on Genesis 13, beautiful. 14, and 15. And like, that sounds a little bit like greed. I don't know if I can get with that. And my mom, for whatever reason, because I guess she reads and stays up on New Thought people, even though we didn't know that term, knew that Reverend Della had been ordained by Reverend Johnny Coleman. And that was the reason that I stayed, because I knew that Reverend Johnny had done something amazing, and I just wanted to be a part of that.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I always love hearing how people found New Thought, especially people that are grown up in sort of traditional religions or something like that. That's always fascinating to me. I love when people share that, because it's cool. It's like, oh, okay,
And yeah, I agree. It's like everybody has an origin story. No one, very, very rarely do you hear someone say, I was raised in this.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? No, I came running out of the Catholic church. Or
right.
I was like sliding under the door at the Baptist church. So everybody has their New Thought origin story. That will change in a few years, but today everybody has an origin story.
Yeah. And that's what, well, people that know me know that I'm just so happy that I raised my daughter in New Thought. And so she's one of them, but most other people, no.
Yes. And, my son, Jordan, is into a lot of superheroes. And so all the superheroes have a backstory. And what I realize is that it's almost like when we're talking to one another in New Thought Speak, it's what was your origin story to figure out that you were a superhero? That's really what we're asking people. Right. You discovered that you're a superhero. You discovered that you're divine. What's your origin story? Tell me how you got to figure out that you could fly. How did you figure out that you could leap buildings, tall buildings in a single bound? How did you discover that? That's really what this conversation is.
I love that analogy. That's a great analogy.
Yes,
it is.
This is going to be a little bit off topic because it's not quite what you asked me, but I felt this way with some of the people that are like our generation in our organization, and they love the baby boomers, but the baby boomers were holding strong in the leadership role, and so it was like we were the wonder kids, the Incredibles that had grown up, and we were. So I started this in our 20s, and now we're like in our 30s and early 40s.
Yeah.
And so we were like the wonder kids, and so we had these superpowers. Somebody was like Stretch, and somebody was like Dash, and another person was like Invisible Girl, but we couldn't use them. And I don't know if you remember the plot from The Invisibles, but they essentially, when they would fight crime, they caused so much destruction that the city put out an ordinance that they couldn't use their superpowers. So they had all of this strength and all of these things that they could do, but they weren't allowed to use them.
Yeah.
And that's how there was a point at which I felt like that when we were first like getting into seminary and moving through the ranks. And it was like, we're sitting here and we can fly and they won't let us fly. Like,
yeah, no, I love that analogy. But that means that you, of course, know the importance of As a Man Thinketh, and our film, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that is an important book, and it is basically what we teach and what we learn, you know, that our thoughts are creative, our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings are creative, you know?
Yes.
And so, and I know that you're big on, you know, abundance and prosperity. And of course, as a man or a woman, a person thinketh, is related to that. You know, I'm sure that a lot of your people you work with, clients or whomever, that money or abundance is a big issue. And we know thoughts are things and all that. And you actually wrote a book called The Money Poems.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that and just why you wrote it and just how it relates to this thinketh?
Sure. Okay, I'll put all that together. So so the book was actually written around 2007, 2008, and I tell you, publishing is a journey to get over yourself. At least it has been for me.
Yes, I know.
And you meet yourself at every turn, and you really have to be willing to be confident. And I wrote this material in 2007, 2008, and I published it pseudonymously with my co-author. We actually took our middle names. My middle name is Denise, his middle name is Alan, and we made up a pseudonym, Denise Allen, and published it under that name. And we put it out basically as an ebook. We put up this kind of website around the money coins, and we sold a few ebooks. And I don't even remember why I picked the material up again. I can't even tell you because I moved on and started working on other projects, writing projects. But probably around 2015, he brought it back to my attention. And I picked it up and I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is really good. And like I was like genuinely like, okay, this was good. This is good stuff. And what was different then, though, is that I'd gone through seminary, so I'd done way more studying, way more personal development, way more work on myself. And what I didn't have then is why it works. So we had written these poems, we had built this fictional story around the this main character, Denise Allen, who's sharing the story of how the money poems came about. And all of the science or all of the information in the book is true, but what I didn't have then was the language to say, this is why this works. This is why you can read this and these words will touch your deeper mind. That you can practice what advertisers practice on you, which is selling to yourself. That you can, through gratitude, begin to see the abundance in the universe. I'm going to detour for just a little bit.
Yeah.
So anywhere that you are, you see according to your vocabulary, and you cannot see what you don't have a word for. So an electrician walking in this room, you know, to me, I see the light in the room. I see the light.
Yeah, but they see it's wired.
But they see all the wires. They know how the whole thing is put together, and they see according to the vocabulary that they have.
Yeah.
There's also a bathroom my office is in my home is basically a bedroom converted to an office. So there's a bathroom here. If a plumber walked in, he would see things that neither I nor the electrician would see, but that he would see because of his vocabulary.
Right, his perception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A painter would come in, and I'm not a decorator. I mean, I put up two little girls dancing and playing, one's jumping rope and one's hula hooping, because I believe that life should be fun and basically life is a game. But the painter would come in and say, no, these aren't white walls. This is ecru, but it's based on their vocabulary. You can't see what you don't have a word for.
Right.
And so gratitude is the language of the universe. That this universe is chock full of good stuff. There's opportunity on every block,
Mm-hmm.
but you can only see to the degree that you have developed a spirit of gratitude, of genuine,
Mm-hmm.
authentic, unabashed, unadulterated, unapologetic gratitude. And the
Mm.
more grateful you are, the more good you see. It's like the plumber walking into the room and being able to see what you can't see. That when
Yes.
you walk into a space with gratitude, that you begin to see opportunities that other people don't even perceive.
Mm.
And so in the book is built on that kind of mental science. That built into the poems are is a sense and a spirit of gratitude. Built into the poems is this understanding that what you say, the subconscious mind or the deeper mind
Mm-hmm.
registers,
Yeah.
and it registers, and then if you persist, eventually your word will win out. Eventually, the word that you say will dominate in your subconscious, that you say mostly, will dominate in your subconscious mind, and it will begin to produce out into your experience. and
Wow.
and
Yeah.
then the persistence that we built this, what we call the money point system. And so we tell people 7 points, 7 days a week, seven times a day, 7 days a week, so for 7 weeks, which is like a 49-day system, because we know that you saying those words to yourself, that it's going to impress on your heart, it's going to do something inside of you, it's going to leave its mark on you.
Mhm.
And if you persist with it, you will change. There's
Right.
no
Right.
there's no
Because
you
as
know
within, so without, as
as
we know.
but you're responsible for what's as within.
Right. That's right. And so
Right.
that's a way of kind of, if you need to change what's in, if you
Right.
want to change the outer naturally. And so it sounds like the poems and the repetition helps,
Yes.
like you said, it's on the inside. It's changing your subconscious, the things you say to yourself, which eventually will out picture. So that's,
Exactly. But most people are not persistent in what they say to themselves.
yeah, they're not either, they might not
They're
even be
not.
aware even.
They're probably aware only of what they say consciously. Most people are completely unaware of the inner chatter that happens in their mind, and
Yes.
that's the real consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
If I could follow, not you, but I'm saying you in the
Yeah.
universal
Anybody.
sense, if I could
Yeah.
follow you around for 24 hours and I had a way to record everything that you say, it would no longer surprise you why your days go south.
Right. Right. That's
Right.
right. No, it's
That I
true.
mean, that's yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's true.
there's this
Yeah.
inner dialogue,
Hmm.
and it's so subtle. We did this campaign. I don't have the. Oh yes, I do. Well, hold on. I won't go through too much of it. So we had this campaign at Up. This was we did our Lenten challenges. So we had these bracelets, and the bracelet says "I
Ooh.
am abundant," right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I had this bracelet on my arm, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? Because I understood this principle of auto suggestion. I said, what I'm going to do. This is a game I was playing with myself. I'm going to set my alarm for every hour from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And every time the timer goes off, I'm going to say this affirmation aloud if I'm by myself, or to myself if I'm with a group of people 50 times. So I did that. And one weekend, probably like the first weekend that I was, kind of doing this little game with myself, I had a check that I was expecting to cross my account, and a deposit that I was waiting for that hadn't happened. And so I was concerned that, the
Yeah, it's
wires
cross.
would
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
would
Not
get
cross.
crossed, right, would get crossed
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And the thing is that what I realized when I was doing the affirmations is that in between, like inside the hour, I would drop back into this like worry, this like kind of what I would call like a low grade anxiety. It
Mm.
wasn't like a full blown panic, but it was
Yeah.
just kind of like in the background.
Yeah.
And at first I felt bad about it when I got to the end of the day. I was like, God, you know how important it is to manage your thoughts. But what it
Yeah.
made me present to is that the only reason I noticed this is because I was doing this.
Mm.
That if I had not been doing this, it just would have been that low grade anxiety, like
Constant. Right.
background noise in the
Yeah.
background. And I probably wouldn't have even been able to articulate what it was. That it just was just
It was
happening.
there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just there in the background.
Yeah.
And so many times we have that background noise running in the background. And so we try to affirm, I am rich, I am healthy. But we got this background noise that we're not addressing.
Right.
And
Right.
so what the money poems are about, and the reason it's 7 times a day, 7 days a week for 7 weeks, is that it's to create this kind of effect.
Mm.
You know, if I could convince you to do it every, 7 minutes, I would. But I figured nobody's gonna buy that book, and nobody's gonna do that system.
Yeah. Right.
7 times a day, 7 days a week, 7
Right.
weeks.
Right.
Because what it'll make you present to on some level is your background noise.
Yeah.
And if you're having money problems, you've got some background noise that you're probably not aware of.
Right.
And so what the poems do is to basically make you present to it.
Wow.
To make you present to that worry.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That sounds really good. Because I know that that's like, I was going to ask you what the number one block from experiencing abundance is, but you kind of, that's what it is. It's the background noise, right?
It's the inner chatter.
The inner
that inner chatter. If you could get a handle on that inner chatter, you could change your entire, and you can. Yeah, you can. But you've got to be persistent, because here's the thing. The inner chatter is who you are today.
Yeah.
So I love the movie Inception. I don't know if you know the plot. It is one of my all-time favorite films, and I imagine in my mind the Bible Hangout is like Inception. So Leo DiCaprio, Ellen Page, and James. Is it James Franco? I think James Franco's in it. Anyway, what's happening there's a lot of things happening in the film. There's a film is chock full. But one of the central things that's happening in the film is that they have the ability to hack someone's mind. And to plant a new idea in the mind. And the question of the film is, can you introduce an idea to the mind and get the person to accept it? That's the question that's driving the film. Mm-hmm. And so what Leo DiCaprio's team does is that they enter the mind through the dream state. And then they traverse the dream state, which it's virtual, but it feels real when you're doing it. They traverse the dream state to get to the deeper mind. The deeper you go in the mind, the more violent the mind becomes, because it's trying to protect itself.
Oh, right.
And so these armed militia are basically the guards. Those are the thoughts that do not want a new idea to land.
Yeah.
So
I like this analogy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Inception is my movie.
Yeah.
That is my movie all day long. So the thing is that when you introduce a new idea, you're going to hit a wall, because the mind does not want the new idea.
Yeah.
What you have to do is pre-decide to press through. You cannot make the decision in the moment.
Yes, right.
In the moment, it's like, I don't feel like it today. Right. You have to pre-decide.
Yeah, and the persistence, like you said. No, that's important. I think that's
so you say, okay, so if we were talking about exercise, on the morning that I don't feel like getting up and going to the gym, here's what I'm going to do. I don't wait till the morning when I don't feel like getting up. Yeah. I pre-decide.
Yeah.
These things.
Because it's going to happen. It's
going to happen.
I don't want to go.
It's how the mind works. It's how the mind works. So with the money poems, what I say in the book is that one of the principles of it is the persistence. That you're going to hit a wall inside of those 49 days where you're not going to feel like it, or your mind is going to tell you this is not working, or right?
Yeah.
And you have to pre-decide, I'm getting to day 49. And so we put some things in there. We've got a grid so that you can track, and the thing about tracking, when you do things like that, when you put up like a calendar and you start to tick off, is that it's a mind hack, because the mind wants a
sequence or something.
Right. So it doesn't want any missed days.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, I've got to keep going. Yeah.
Right. So it's a little,
so
it's a little mind hack to basically trick your mind into letting you finish this 49-day process. The other thing that's a part of it is that there's a journal, meaning you need to buy your journal, but there's a journal part of it.
Yeah, you're encouraged to keep a journal.
Right. I'm gonna come up with a journal. Did I tell you publishing was about meeting yourself and overcoming yourself emotionally? But with the journal, what I recommend is that 2 minutes. That's not a lot of time. It's very, very quick. That once you do the poem, that you journal on whatever came up for you.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
For 2 minutes. So you literally set a timer for 2 minutes. It goes like that. And whatever comes up is just free form writing.
Mm.
Because what you begin to do is you begin to notice how your mind changes.
Mm-hmm.
We change incrementally.
Yes.
And the reason that people quit things is because they can't see the incremental changes.
Mm.
And so the journaling helps you to begin to perceive the incremental. And it's so slight, it's so small, it's so easy to miss it, and so easy to think that you're not being shifted or you're not being changed,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually are.
You are.
And the
right.
problem with quitting is now you got to start over.
Right, right. So you got to just keep going.
Yeah. Now you're back at one. You got to go do the whole process all over again, because there's a momentum that comes.
Yes.
And you want to rev up that momentum.
Yes. Wow. So the book sounds fantastic, and
thank you. It's only 60. It's only 60 pages. It's a little bitty book.
It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So that's so good. So I think we're running out of time, but I don't want to miss the opportunity for you to let the viewers know how they can connect with you and where they can find the book.
Absolutely. So offline, because maybe there's somebody who is just not a technology person, come to LA, book a ticket, fly to LAX. My church is right next door to LAX. Literally, an Uber from my church to the airport is $9 one way.
Yeah.
So Upchurch, our Sunday service is at 1:00 every Sunday, and I would love to see any people come and say, "Hey, I saw you on the interview with Maryann," and I would love that. Online, I teach a weekly Bible study via YouTube. So literally, if you want to connect live and you can ask any question, we're in the process of studying universal law. We're finishing up this incredible book by Bruce MacArthur called Your Life, Why It Is the Way That It Is and What You Can Do About It.
That's a great book. I have
that book.
Yeah. It just,
he will get you together. He will get you together.
Yes.
He will get you together.
Yeah. I have to reread it, I think.
No, I'm telling you, it's powerful. It's so powerful.
No, it's good. It's a good one.
Yeah. So that's Thursday, and that's every Thursday night. And then I have a website, revsherri.com, and it's all, when you go to the page, the previous Bible Hangout, so like last night's Bible Hangout is there.
Okay,
and so that's where I blog, and of course upchurch.org.
Good. Oh, okay, awesome.
Oh, and Twitter, I haven't figured out Instagram. Twitter, Facebook. I have an Instagram account, but I can't consistently log in. It's just But Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. Pinterest. I'm on every social media platform, but I'm primarily on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay, cool. All right. So everybody, that's where you can connect with Rev Sherri.
Yes.
And look for us both in the film As a Man Thinketh.
Yes.
And it's just been a pleasure. And thank you so much, Rev Sherri.
Thank you. This was such a blessing.
It was so much fun. Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.